Hey guys, how are y'all doing today? I've been thinking about something for a day or two, and I got a response from an earlier video, and it was about when you fall, getting back up, and I realized that there's probably many people out there like me that you're kind of having on days you're having a problem seeing your worth and identity the way the Lord sees us, and I had something happen a couple of years ago with one of my kids that really helped me to see things from a God perspective um, through parenting, and those shadows are supposed to be there. And we kind of ask ourselves on the days we blow it, we mess up, we wonder. I've said it, Lord, will I ever get this right? I've got a heart to follow you. I want to be clean. I want to be holy. I don't want to be in bondage to these things that keep tripping me up, And Philippians says in Philippians 2:12 and 13, it's one of my favorite verses, says it's God in you that causes you to do and to will according to his good pleasure. He gives you the desire to do the things that please him, and he gives you the power to carry them out. So that's why, when you get saved, all of a sudden things just change. You don't want to do the same things. You don't want to hang out around the same people, go to the same places. Things start to bother you. Paul talks about, and I underline this in my Bible when I see him in the epistles. He all that term he says, I live with a clear conscience. He's learned to obey his conscience. You know what God might be dealing with me about on an exact same situation. For me to disobey and to go against that is sin for me, where the next man might not be having a conviction about the exact same thing, and for him it's not sin. It's not something that's like a commandment we're breaking. I'm just saying you can take anything. Paul uses the example of esteeming one day over another day, or certain foods over other foods, but that's kind of off topic. But what I wanted to kind of point out was, we see the cross as the revelation as our need for a savior. And we definitely, it is that, but it also, and I've heard another guy teach on this that I love, it's the revelation of our worth, our value. Something had to be important enough to go through what Jesus went through to redeem mankind. And redemption means to buy back something, or just restore something back to its original purpose, your original value. See, me and you, we see ourselves on the days we blow it as just that. The sum of my life is I can't get this right. I did it again. I blew it. But when God sees us, he sees us for the potential he knows we have when we've been filled with the Spirit of Jesus. He knows that our capability is to become as his son was. So when he sees you, he sees just the possibilities are amazing. So he knows that. He knows what you're capable of becoming when he does it in you. So the days we blow it, we see that. He sees something different. And I'll give you an example. And my daughter's kind of given me permission to share this once before, so I'm assuming today will be no different. One of my daughters was younger, and she was 16, she was just starting to drive. I've always tried to give them enough room to make some decisions on their own and learn to obey their consciences. They know right from wrong, they know good from evil, and now we got to let them make some decisions on their own. I try not to rule with a real strong hand, but give them a little rope, like God does us. And well, when she was 16, and she'd always been a really good kid, and she deserved the freedoms I was giving her. She had a car and keys, and she worked, and was paying for most of all of her own stuff. Really proud of her. She went out with a friend, and they went out to a store together to walk around the shop or whatever, and I hadn't thought a thing about it. Never anything negative hadn't crossed my mind, but all of a sudden I looked at the time and I'm like, it wasn't late, but something just hit me to call her and say, where are you at? She said, well, I'm at the store. Well, you need to get home. Something just real firm came over me. It was out of context. It was weird. She even later told me there was just something in my voice. She came home. And like I said, never thought another thing about it. A few days or a few weeks later, I can't remember how much time went by, but she come to me and she said, Dad, I need to tell you something. Me and my friend, we went and we picked up these two boys we were talking to, and we went to the store with them. We picked them up and took them, and without telling me, and that wouldn't have been okay with me. And she knew that. And when I called the way I did, it was because something hit me in my gut. And she had immediately left, dropped them off, came home, and her conscience was bothering her. And so, like I said, a few days or a week later or whatever it was, she come to me and told me and said, I'm sorry, I made a mistake, and it's just been eating at me, it's bothered me. Now, at that point, she was feeling really low, like she totally blew it. I was having one of the proudest days of my life for her. I want you to see this the way God does. And then I had the responsibility of acting like God in this instance. She came with a repentant heart, sorry for what she did, and confessed it. I had no intention of repeating it. I could have said, you can give me them keys, I should have never trusted you, you blew it. This ain't happening again. But I didn't. I said, baby, I'm proud of you for coming and telling me. I love you. We're good. That was the end of it. But I say all this to say that on the day that she felt like she blew it the worst was the day I was the most proud of her. And the days that me and you blow it, we think with him, because we've blown it more than one time. She did that once. I've blown some things more times than I'd care to admit to you, and I'm not even going to tell you. Because sometimes it's the same thing over, maybe months later, then I blow it again. And every time I have to come before God and I have to say, I'm truly sorry. I don't want to be like this, Lord. And I know at that point, he's like, you think you just blew it, but I'm seeing that you're starting to get it. You're starting to get it. It's starting to click with you. So I say all that just to encourage those of you that might have blown it today or this week, that when you're at your lowest, he might just be one of his proudest days that God's having of you, because he sees you realizing it. You're responding to your conscience. Something bothered you. You confessed it. Don't continue in it. And you're good, because I don't ever consider that God remembers anything about my past, and I'm not proud of my past. I'll speak about it sometimes on here, but I know he doesn't hold it over me. I know I'm forgiven. I know he's forgotten it. The moment I was saved, I was wiped clean. From that moment forward, he says that I will be forgiven as I forgive others. So now there's this maintenance program that goes on as I'm walking with the Lord. Someone sins against me, I can't hold it against them. It has to be, Father, forgive them. They know not what they do. I can't judge another man's servant. Do I? Sometimes I blow it and do that too. Yes. But I know the scriptures now, and they cut, they slice, they govern me. They correct me. They reprove me. That's where my doctrine comes from. And I just wanted to share that to encourage you. I love you guys. Have a good day. Bye-bye.